Hey, it's Kyle here. Today I'll be reviewing a book that has been one of my favorites for a long time, but it's honestly been a long time since I've read it, so I thought it was time to do a reread. And I'm glad I did because I loved it again this time, and that is The Last Babylon by Pat Frank. This classic book was written in the late 1950s, and that time period is very important to know when it was written because it was written from the viewpoint of the height of the Cold War. And basically what this novel is all about is what if the Cold War had went hot and the Soviets and the United States actually used nuclear weapons against each other, and basically we had World War III. And so this book is set in a small fictional town in Florida that happens to be kind of in a remote part of the state, not near any of the major cities that would be a target during a nuclear war. And because of this and lots of luck, the way the wind was blowing and stuff, the citizens of this small town managed to survive. And so this book really focuses on how people react in this situation. What is the challenges they have to overcome? What is life like for people that are used to the modern world and suddenly they're thrown into the world with no electricity? Everything they have to survive off of needs to be something they can get from their immediate area. No longer supplies being trucked in or flown in and stuff like that. If you make it or grow it or scavenge it in your immediate area, it's gone basically. Modern medicine's gone. Gas quickly runs out. All the stuff that the modern world revolves around it's just gone. So this book really does an amazing job, I think, exploring like how different people react to this, how different people maybe rise to the occasion and become a better person almost thrown into these types of situations. How some people go the opposite direction and just cannot handle it and cannot face a world that's changed so dramatically from what they were used to. I think one thing I really enjoy about this book, I knew about this the first time I read it, and I think I really even relate to it even more, is it gives you a good insight of how people in the United States viewed the future in the 1950s, where I think at this point they really thought, all right, there's a really good chance this is going to happen sometime soon. And I think in a lot of ways this book was written as a warning, like, hey, see how bad it would be if we actually do this. Maybe let's try not to make this happen. And now, obviously, we live in a world where nuclear weapons still exist. But I think the bulk of the population, I don't think there's really a concern as much about like a World War III all-out nuclear war anymore. It's maybe like a random terrorist or a random country might use one nuclear weapon. But to kind of go back to the mindset of like where everybody thought this is probably going to happen. The bulk of the population is going to die. And if you're lucky, you might survive, but then it's going to be a challenge. Like, is there even a world you want to survive in? I think the thing that makes this book interesting to read as a novel is like the characters are well developed, very interesting, and you very much become attached to them. There's certain characters you're rooting for, and come on, make it, figure it out. In some ways, especially, there's a few kids in this book. The kids very much remind me of watching the TV show The Walking Dead and how the young kids in that show are thrust into this apocalyptic world and how they face this new reality and how they rise to the challenge and how they survive. The kids in this book remind me a lot of those Walking Dead storylines. So I would say if you like dystopian books, The Last Babylon is a book that you're really going to enjoy. If you don't like dystopian books, this might not be the book for you because obviously it is a bit of a bummer because the bulk of the population on Earth is basically wiped out. But there is a silver lining and some positive stuff that's reflected in it. I think overall, the book is like we can still survive. There's a chance to make it. So it's not all doom and gloom like some dystopian ones, but it's definitely a little bit of a bummer of a topic. But at least for me, I really enjoyed it and kind of seeing how different people react to extreme situation like nuclear war. So I would definitely recommend The Last Babylon by Pat Frank. If you've never read this classic, I would highly recommend it. Let me know in the comment section below, what is a classic dystopian book that you really enjoy that you think I should check out? Look forward to seeing those recommendations. If you enjoyed this review, please hit the like button. If you haven't, please subscribe to the channel. I appreciate the support. Thanks for watching, and happy reading.